Hey guys, I'm Steven and this is The Sound of Tech. So today I'll be looking at Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners specifically. Going into Premiere Pro as a beginner can be quite difficult because you get this whole new layout and you don't know how to use it. So today I'm looking at the layout and we're going to be learning what the layout is like and how everything fits together inside Premiere Pro. So you want to step up your video editing game? This series is for you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is open Premiere Pro. So you can either do that from your dash or wherever you've saved it, or you can go up to the Creative Cloud and search through the apps that you've downloaded, and you get to Premiere Pro and you can click on the logo there and it will start opening. So it's alright if it takes a little bit long because Premiere Pro always takes quite a while to load, even on really high-end desktops. Okay, so when Premiere Pro opens you should see something like this, obviously without all these things because you haven't made a project yet. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go on the left here and click New Project. So we're going to choose where we want to save it. Here I'm just going to call it Tutorial 1, and I just leave all this stuff unless you really know the technicalities of what you want to do with your footage, then you can just leave this alone. So we'll click OK and it will open up a timeline and everything. Okay, so first of all, I think just so that we can get the idea around the layout, so up the top here we have selections with lots of different layouts. So this will be useful if you are assembling your footage or editing it, color grading, putting effects. I personally like to keep it on effects. Sometimes when I'm doing a basic edit I'll go into the assembly panel, but I just like staying on effects because everything is in a really convenient place. Okay, so this is Premiere Pro CC 2018. If I didn't, yeah, I think it's 2018. So let's start down here. All these panels are adjustable. Down the bottom left we have the project area, so that is where all the files are going to be dropped in and placed everywhere on your timeline. And to the right of that we have all the tools. So probably the main tool you're going to use is the selector tool and the razor tool and maybe the hand tool. Oh, and the type tool is really cool. It's with the a recent update in Essential Graphics, but I think I might go into that in a different video. So all these have keyboard shortcuts. You can change them in the settings, but I really suggest that you take the time to learn these shortcuts because it's really going to make you a much more efficient editor. Okay, and right here we have the timeline. Obviously there's nothing there at the moment. We'll get some footage on there in a minute and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, up the top here we have the effects control, lumetri scopes, source, and audio mixes. So effects controls are where you're going to do anything from motion to blurring to color grading. All that stuff is going to happen in there. Any effects that you drag in onto your footage are going to be there. All the properties for your footage, everything. Lumetri scopes are just going to show you the color. I don't personally use them very often, it's just because I don't really know how to, but that's something as I get better I'm looking to learn. Source, when we have stuff down in the project tab down here, you can open them up here. You can select what parts of the video you want initially. So if you're only looking for a 5-second clip out of a 1-minute video per se, and you don't really want to be cutting it all in the timeline, you can do it right here. Select the rough beginning and rough end, drop it in, and you can fix that all up in the timeline. Then the audio clip mixes are, because Premiere Pro is a layer based software, so you can have multiple audio layers. This is going to help you be able to see the levels of all the layers and change that. We'll get to that. Maybe not in this video, but we'll see. So the program section is where you're going to see your clip and what you're working on the timeline. So that is the output. That is what is being edited. That's where you're going to see all your footage, everything like that. Then on the far right here, in this effects mode, we have effects, essential graphics, essential sound, lumetri color, libraries, markers, history, and info. So info will give you information about the footage, and then you can just sort of explore the other ones. So when we want to import footage, you can go down here, you can either drag footage in or you can double click. Those are probably the easiest ways. So I'm going to drop some footage in and we're going to have a little play around. Okay, so in here I placed the audio and the video that I used for the intro. As you can see, it's 4 minutes long. For what you saw was probably like a 30-second intro. So what I did is I went up here, I found the rough area that I wanted to select, and I clicked mark in. Then, so I'm just going to do that there, I don't really know where it is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag that into the timeline. So you can see now out of that 4-minute video I got a 40-second clip. So now you can see the output up the top here in the program section, and you can see the multiple layers that we have on our timeline. So this is the video clip. We have the video in this V1 section and the audio in this A1 section. So if we want to cut them, we'll click the razor tool or C on the keyboard, and then we can go along here across the clip and click whatever we want to cut it. I'll just Control Z. Another way that we can crop footage is just dragging by the side, and you can see where we're at here. See, so this is where I go towards the camera to turn it off. So I don't want that part, so I'm going to cut it around here. So I'm just going to quickly show you the effects control. So in the effects control you can see we have position, so I can move the footage up or down or across. I have scale, so zoom in and out. Then we have rotation, and then anchor point, which is where the footage anchors from. So if I do that, you'll see that it scales into that section instead of the center. See, if I do that, it scales into the up and down from the center. If I move this across or up or down, you can see that it scales differently. I don't think you really need that, but if you want to do some weird spinning thing where it's not spinning from the center, that's how you would do it, I think. And then anti-flicker filter, I haven't really messed around with that too much. So, and then opacity we have here, obviously change the opacity. Time ramping, I don't really know how to use that, I'll be honest. Then audio effects, this is where you can control the level, the channel volumes, and the panner. All of these are foldable, as you can see, so I can fold all these in. So, sorry, I forgot to mention this. This part down here and here is how you zoom in and out. So you can do that, you can drag that across, different stuff like that. What you want to do if you need to change the position of things, like if I want to add my logo, I want to scale it down and move it to the corner. And this is important if you want to do any picture-in-picture stuff. I'm just going to sort of demonstrate that. I'm going to mute both of the audio tracks, and I'm just going to scale it down. I'm going to do a picture-in-picture. So if I want myself in the corner there, that's how I do that. Move it like that. So basically you have several layers. This is your toggle on and off switch. These are your mutes for your audio tracks. These are your solo tracks. So if you just want one of those audio tracks to play, you can do that. You can lock these tracks so they can't be edited. That's really useful if you have edited all your A-roll or your video footage like this and you don't want it touched, but you want to add the B-roll or the product shots on top. That's how we do that. It's a good idea to lock it so that you don't mess it up, pretty much. So if you need another layer, you can drag the thing up, new layer. That's pretty easy. Over here you have the audio for the tracks. So as you can see, as I'm talking, the volume goes up and down in there. So I think one last thing I want to show you is how to export. So we go up to the top here, click File, then click Export. We want to export as media, and it will load. So then we have this here. We have all our settings across here. If you don't know what you're doing, maybe don't touch it, because what will happen when you drag your footage into the timeline is it will make a sequence that is the exact same properties as your footage, so you don't really have to worry about all the different stuff. So you can choose your format, you can choose your preset, anything like that. Here is where you want to rename it. You want to click that, choose where you want to save it, that's fine. Okay, so we have all these settings, but I'm not really going to go through them. Down the bottom we have Q. So what that does is it will send it to Adobe Media Encoder. So that is a separate Adobe program that is specifically tasked to render videos and change file formats and everything like that. If you want to do it inside Premiere Pro, you can just click Export. They both work pretty good, but if you have multiple sequences to export, you might want to queue them and then do them all at once. Okay, so, and one more thing that might make your editing experience a lot smoother is go up to Sequence and Render In and Out. So what that will do is it will render the timeline down here so you don't have dropped frames while you're editing. So it's not like bruh, 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 like that. It's really smooth and it's really easy to edit things. So I don't think I'll go into any of the effects or anything now. If you guys want some more information on something in Premiere Pro, drop it down in the comments down below, because I'll make sure that I talk about it in one of the future episodes of this series. If you guys like this series or you like any of the videos on the Sound of Tech, make sure you subscribe. If you like this video specifically, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, dislike it, that's fine. If you want to just talk to me, I'm on Instagram at the Sound of Tech, so shoot us a message over there and I'm sure I can help you. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video, whether it's a tutorial, a review, or some other type of video. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers.